Good morning. Well, I guess by the time you're watching this, it will be afternoon or evening. Let's make take two of my videos here. We are learning about order of operations, and in case you wondered, all these little codes right up here are simply the Ohio standards that we're learning about in this lesson. It's not really anything you need to focus too much on, but in case you were curious. Then today you should be able to evaluate numerical and algebraic expressions by using the order of operations. And through our work tomorrow, we will be doing some that are pretty challenging, and we're going to push your brains a little bit with these order of operations. So you probably learned the order of operations back in, I don't know, elementary school or CIS, and you might have remembered them as PEMDAS or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally or something like that. Well, by the time you get into algebra, I get frustrated with the P that they use in please excuse me, dear Aunt Sally, because it's not just parentheses. In this class, we're going to evaluate everything inside any grouping symbol, and that can include parentheses, it can include brackets, it can include what we call braces, and I actually stink at making braces. Hopefully yours are prettier than mine. And most importantly, it includes a fraction bar. We have to treat a fraction bar like a grouping symbol where we will do the numerator first and then the denominator, and then we can do the division. So we have to remember that a fraction bar is a grouping symbol. Then we'll evaluate all powers, so all exponents, and then we'll do multiplication and division from left to right. Remember, it's not all multiplications first and then divisions. It's whatever comes first, left to right. And then we do the same with addition or subtraction. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of quick examples. This one should be pretty easy. 3 to the 4th power, it's just a power, so we don't have to determine an order of anything. But that would be 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And then when it says evaluate, that means we want to actually find the value of it. So you can use your calculator if you need to, but you would get a value of 81. In the next example here, same thing. It's just a power. So we would do 6 times 6 times 6, and we get 216. Now over here is where it gets a little bit trickier. Notice that in this problem, we have two sets of grouping symbols. We have a parentheses and we have a bracket. When you have multiple sets of grouping symbols, you have to do the innermost grouping symbols first. So I am going to do this set first. And when we're doing this, especially starting off, I want you to show each step only one step at a time. So here's what I mean by that. Since we're doing the 12 divided by 3 first, I'm just going to copy the rest of the problem. Now I'm going to do the 12 divided by 3, which is 4. And I'm going to keep that 4 in parentheses because there's an exponent on the outside of it. And that's just one step. So my first step is just doing that division. Then my next thing is I'm going to do my power. So I'm going to do 4 to the 2nd power next. And 4 to the 2nd power is 16. Now I can do this next set of grouping symbols, and I'm going to do 2 plus 16, which is 18. And then finally I can do 3 times 18. I save that multiplication for the end, and I get a value of 54. Then over here, this is one of those examples with the fraction bar. So again, we're going to do the numerator first. So 3 plus 2 cubed, which is 8, over 4 squared times 3. I'm going to keep that denominator as is. Then I can finish the numerator. 3 plus 8 is 11. Then my denominator I can start working on. 4 squared is 16 times 3. Then let's finish that denominator. 16 times 3 is 48. And if this was a fraction that I could simplify further, I would at this point, but 11 over 48 doesn't simplify, so we're just going to leave it as is. So now what I want you to do is pause the video and try these 6 questions, try to evaluate them step by step, and when you come back, you can check your answers here. And the answer for number 1 is 8. The answer for number 2 is 18. Number 3 is 12. Number 4 is 18. Number 5 is 7. And number 6 is 1. If you have questions about how to get any of those, you can ask me tomorrow. And then finally, our last thing is evaluating algebraic expressions. This is simply when you have variables and you're going to have to substitute numbers in place of the variables first before you can evaluate it using the order of operations. So here's an example for you. I'll let you look at it. The biggest thing you have to pay attention to is that you need to substitute all your values first. So your very first step is just rewriting the problem with your substitutions. Then you can start evaluating it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do one of these examples down here together before you try it on your own. Let's take a look at number 8. We'll do that one together. So first I'm going to just rewrite it with my substitutions. 23 minus, and then keep your parentheses, and I'm going to substitute 4/5 for A plus 3/5 for B. Now I can start evaluating it. I'm going to do my grouping symbols first. So what's 4/5 plus 3/5? Hopefully you know that's 7/5. If not, hopefully you got out your calculator. And then I can do my subtraction. 23 minus 7/5, which 7/5 is the same as 1 and 2/5. So that will end up being 21 and 3/5. Okay, pause the video now and try those remaining problems and unpause it when you're ready to check your answers. The answer for number 7 is 48/5, or if we write it as a mixed number, is 9 and 3/5. Number 9, we get 480. Number 10, we get 1. Number 11, we get 6/11. And number 12, we get 1 and 1/24. So again, if you got any of those wrong, maybe go back and check and see if you followed the actual correct order of operations. And if you still have a question about it, by all means, ask me first thing tomorrow and we'll go over that. Have a good night, and we'll see you in class tomorrow.